Before we jump into today's episode, I want to let you know that enrollment is now open for my Buying Signals for Networkers Mastermind. When you've left a networking conversation wondering whether interest was real or what you should have said next, this 8-week confidence building experience was created for you. You can join in person or virtually, and you'll find a link to learn more and enroll in the show notes.
Are you a business owner or employee who needs to network but is terrified of walking into a room full of people you don't know? Are you afraid of being left out of conversations or being awkward in the conversations you do have? Your tour guide, Faithann, is here to walk alongside you through the networking terrain, offering tips and tricks to network with ease. Grab your sunscreen and suitcase. Faithann is ready. Are you?
Welcome, new and returning listeners, to this episode of the Networkers Tour Guide podcast, the place where you can get your networking questions answered one episode at a time. I am welcoming returning guest Dirk with D&P Home Inspections. Dirk, thank you so much for coming back on the podcast.
Not a problem. I am so thrilled to be here. It is always a privilege to actually see a celebrity like yourself now. I see that you're getting a lot of feedback, and I'm guessing you're getting quite a bit of downloads.
Yes,
So
the podcast is doing really well, and it's just a thrill to be able to get this information out because networking can be very overwhelming when you don't know what you're doing, when you're just starting. And we're told as business owners, get yourself out there, get yourself out there. But if you don't really know how to get yourself out there and you don't understand that it does take time, it can be frustrating.
I agree. Totally agree. Not only is it frustrating, it's actually really stressful when you first start out. And I don't think people understand how stressful it really can be, and trying to meet strangers, and you're told your whole life stranger danger.
Right. And for some, introverted people, this is a nervous system overload. No matter what they do to try and help themselves, the first few times it can be a real nervous system overload. And so my goal is to help make it easier by giving you quick tips and tricks and having people on who've also networked who can give their own tips and tricks so that they can move forward in the business relationship world with a little bit more confidence. Now, Dirk was a guest on episode 43 of the podcast, and he is returning for a special reason. This is the real estate series that I'm doing for the audience. So, audience, when you are in the real estate industry and you're trying to network, it can be even more overwhelming because often you aren't the only roofer. You aren't the only home inspector. You aren't the only mortgage lender, depending on the kind of meeting you're going to. And, the realtors know that all of these businesses depend on them. The realtor in the room knows that every roofer in the room wants to talk to him or her. Every home inspector wants to talk to him or her. And then, even in your industry exclusive groups, the friction there is, let's say a realtor joins a chapter, but that realtor already has home inspectors and roofers that she or he already knows. And so, is there pressure then to make the switch? And so, there's a lot of dynamics that go on between realtors and the people that they use to get a home to that closing table. So, that's why I'm excited to talk to Dirk specifically, so that if you are in the real estate industry and you're wanting to network, you can get some good understanding and some strategies to use to build the relationships with those realtors. So, Dirk, what's something that the new business owners who are needing realtors should really understand? What's something that you think that most of them don't understand as you are building relationships with realtors?
Well, when you're building these relationships with realtors, you have to be real. A lot of times people can sense that. They can feel that you are either genuine or you're not genuine. I think that's the biggest, most impactful thing that you can do. And understanding who you can trust and who you can't trust. Because there are certain realtors out there that I tell them I'm sorry, we're not a good fit because they don't put their customers' concerns above their own paycheck. And I won't deal with those type of people. It's just who I am, it's what I believe in. Understanding where you're at, being honest is, I say, the key to any successful business.
So, what would be some of the red flags that would let you know that a realtor is not somebody you would want to work with?
Well, I've had realtors actually ask me to not specifically see certain things. And so to me, that's a red flag right away. It's not that they're putting their customer in their main site. They're actually looking at their paycheck. They're thinking, okay, I'm going to make the $50,000 off this house, and I want to. It's probably not 50,000; it's more like five. But they're going to be making some money off this, and they want the deal to go through. My job is to be the in between person and teach them in between. So I do a lot of phase inspections too. So from the ground up. So before the piping puts in, I look at all the blueprints, make sure things are put in place where they're supposed to be. I've seen some weird stuff, but that's okay. Uh, but my job is to be that gap in between the realtor, the other realtor, and the customer all together and try to like be that fill-in person. Okay, I'm telling you facts. I'm not telling you what I feel. I'm telling you facts. This isn't right. This is what is expected. Today's standard says this. That's what we're going with. If you can prove otherwise, that's on you. If you can handle it, that's on you. I don't care. I don't care if the deal goes through or not. All I care is that you are getting the information that you want.
And so it might be tempting for a newer home inspector if a realtor is making lots of promises and then, oh, I've got tons and tons of homes for you. I'm going to use you exclusively if you'll just not see this XYZ. And so it might be tempting to say, well, okay, but what would you say to that newer home inspector?
Like I said, be honest. If you see it, say something. Your job is on the line. In Florida, we have a license, and I believe Oklahoma, do they have a license for home inspectors? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
And I know Minnesota didn't. And so you have to understand that if you're in business to make it beneficial for everybody, you need to do it right. And it's funny because, like, when I moved here to Florida, a lot of home inspectors were missing things. And I can guarantee they still miss things. Matter of fact, if I hear that you've had a house, if someone calls me and says, "Hey, I had a home inspection in the last year," I will go back for free as long as it's not a new home, because I think everybody deserves a good home inspection, and I want to weed out some of those bad inspectors out there. I know majority of who they are. And I've been back to probably about a dozen plus houses, gave them a free report and showed them what they missed. Because I've been through so much. Look at my walls. I mean, they're covered with certifications. And it's not saying that bragging about myself. It's because I really care about the customer. It's not about me. It's about you and what I can do. So, like, when someone calls me, I said, there's going to be 3 call outs right away. I can guarantee it. On every house in the villages, they have these 3. And I name them, and they're like, we haven't even looked at the house yet. So I'm telling you, this is what they are because I've seen so many things. Sorry.
So when you say call outs, meaning three things that you know are probably going to be wrong before you even get there, is that what you mean?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Like, for instance, if you have an attached garage, okay, and you go into that garage and you open up the door and the door doesn't close behind you, okay, that's a safety hazard. No, it's not a code violation, but it is a safety hazard. We don't want any gases escaping from the garage into the house. And we also, if there was a fire, we want to have that door being secured properly so that the fire doesn't spread into your house. A lot of times people have these pull down attic stairs. A lot of them are not fire rated. So that's another call out right there. There's 2 of them right there, and I haven't even been to your house.
Okay. Now, do you find like that you have to educate realtors as well? Or maybe they're not asking you to do anything dishonest, but they're just shocked. They might have said, "Oh, this house is going to be a breeze, it's only going to have two or three minor things and you have to come with this very large report." How do you navigate that?
Okay, so If you're a new home inspector, a lot of times what you can do is you can combine things together. So let's say there is some moisture intrusion on the right side wall. It's because there's a gutter problem there. So you put the gutter in there and you put in the picture of the moisture intrusion that's behind that wall because it's coming from that gutter. So now I got two discrepancies, only one actual discrepancy in the report. And so you can combine things together and understand, okay, this affected this because of this.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of the easier way of doing it. And that way, instead of having 50 items, you only have maybe 20, 25, 30, but they're all in the report. And so that's why you want to educate as much as you possibly can to say, okay, this caused this because of this.
And so, what about the realtor reaction? Have you ever had to talk a realtor down off of a cliff, so to speak?
Um, yes, I've had that a lot, especially in my career, where I've had realtors call me back and say, hey, you missed this or blah, blah, blah. No, you didn't look at the full report. I also have this set up because of this. You're not looking at this side. This will be done because of this. So if you get this fixed, this will automatically be fixed.
Mm, okay.
Oh, I get it. So like they have these things that are called push pull valves, and you push them on, you turn it turns on the water, you push them, it turns on the water, you pull them, they turn them off, okay? They go bad within the first 5 years if they're bad. So I have that as a maintenance item.
Mm,
So just check every once in a while, make sure that they're not leaking behind your toilets, underneath your sinks. Just check there every once in a while. It's a maintenance item. It's not a red flag. It's not even a recommendation. It's just a maintenance thing that you should do on a regular basis. Just check underneath your sinks. Matter of fact, if you don't have those valves, check under your sinks just to make sure there's no leaks. You can save you tons of money. I had a toilet that was leaking, and unfortunately, now we have to replace a lot of stuff in our bathroom. Luckily, I'm a home inspector because I caught it in time where it didn't get worse. So,
mhm.
those are the kind of things that we want to educate people to really talk to realtors and understand this is why we do it the way we do it, especially these new build homes. If they don't have the foundation correctly poured, it causes other issues down the line. And it's over and over again. It's a snowball effect that actually happens. And so we want to make sure that they're educated enough to get the right information to the customer and alarm them on the alarming things. But most home inspections, there's not a whole lot of red flags. There's more of just recommendations. And the recommendations are okay, the house was built in 1980. It's not up to today's standard of the NEC, which is the National Electric Code. Doesn't mean it's wrong. It just means that it isn't up to the standard of today.
Mhm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And now let's kind of shift a little bit and talk about the networking, to get to that point where the realtor trusts you. And the first thing you said is be honest. Now, do you ever network in rooms besides BNI? I think I asked you that last time you came and you said yes.
I've done a few different like events and things with other networking. I've been to a couple different realtor networking events and things like that. And a lot of times it's funny because like if I find another home inspector, I'll sit next to him. Not to intimidate him and stuff, but just actually to encourage him.
Okay.
Because I don't really think that we're in it as competition. We're actually in there as collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, if I can back this person up, that means that that person there is going to back me up as well. Matter of fact, tomorrow I have a commercial building and I asked another home inspector to come with me on it because it's too big.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, why not collaborate with each other? We can help each other out. And that's the whole idea is when I hear a realtor say, oh, I have my inspector. And I said, are you happy with your inspector? And they said, yes. Then I say, then I would continue using him.
Mm-hmm.
And so that already builds trust. But if he's busy or something, give me a call. Or if you need help with anything, I mentor and train other inspectors all over the country. I have phone calls from other realtors from different parts of the nation too. I try to educate. So if you have something, just throw me a text and I'll try to get back to you as soon as I possibly can. And
Right.
that really helps them understand that I'm not about the money part. I'm more about helping them become successful themselves, because
Mhm.
if they're successful, then it means that we're going to be successful. Then they're going to trust me on other things, like networking with other people in our network. Like, hey, you got a builder? I got a builder. Hey, do you got a roofer? I got a roofer. This is so and so. This is Michael Mell. He's great. Blah blah. Maybe I'll get some money because I mentioned his name on here. Um,
I don't know
I'll
if
split
I'm
it with you.
quite that big yet. But yeah, so it's about, the value that you can provide even if you aren't going to be their home inspector just yet, is what it
Right.
sounds like you're saying.
Exactly. If you go to my website, and anybody can go to my website, I have this thing that's valuable resources. So any realtor in the whole United States can use my code and actually get free continuing education.
That's
And all you
nice.
do is click on the link. So there you have, there's something that you can give away for free. And it's right on my website. Just go to valuable resources. It's right there. I'd say black and white, but it's not in black and white.
So
Just click on the link
it
and we'll
counts.
give you free education.
So they can use it towards their CEUs.
Correct. The CE. The
Yeah.
CEUs, we're so BNI focused.
Yeah, I mean CEs, continuing
Yep.
education that they have to have. So for a newer home inspector, would that be a good goal for them, is to get to a place where they can offer continuing education as a way to provide value to realtors?
They can, and especially if they like join like an Internachi, which is one of the members groups that have home inspectors. So you have ASHI, Internachi, you have Fabi, you have a couple different ones out there, but Internachi actually has education for realtors and stuff. So I just put it on my website. And so they can use my code, go in there, and they can get free education. Check to make sure that it's part of your state before you actually do, but most of it, I believe, um, is compatible for all the United States, I believe.
Okay. So as we wrap this up, I want to just ask one more. Well, I have another question I wanted to ask you because you were on the first time. So I'm asking guests a different question now. But before that, what would you say to either a roofer, home inspector, mortgage person who says, I go to these networking meetings and there's always someone else that does what I do. And there's the realtors, but there's somebody else that does what I do. And so it intimidates me. Makes me less confident when I want to go up and talk to the realtor in the networking meeting.
What comes to mind, and it's probably going to make you laugh, which is kind of funny, is it reminds me of Masters of the Universe. It
Hmm.
was a movie that came out in, I think, the early or late 80s, early 90s. Dolph Lundgren played He-Man, and the character in there said the kind of the same thing. And what the guy said to him was really on point. There's only one of you. There's only one of me. There's only one of everybody out there. Okay, you don't have to be, that person. You have to be you and be you. I'm not, I'm not like every other home inspector out there. Not everybody wants to get on a podcast and start talking. Not everybody wants to go through the education that I go through because I'm different. My wife calls me a little strange, but that's okay. And that's good. It's good to be different. It's good to reach out of your comfort level. That way, you know that you're growing. And if there's another roofer in there, guess what? That might be a good referral for you.
Hmm.
Other home inspectors are good referrals for me.
Hmm. Yeah, it's keeping that mind open to more than one possibility, like not putting people in one box, like not looking at the other roofer and putting that roofer in the box of competition and looking at it more broadly. I think that's really good.
We have this one home inspector, and I've been mentoring him for the past 3, 4 years now. And he's gotten to the point of getting the certified master inspector now. And he's done his 1,000 home inspections. And I am so proud of this guy. And when I find out that my people that I'm going to be doing a home inspection with speak Spanish, I'm like, something, maybe I should back off and have Javier come in and actually do that because he speaks fluent Spanish. He's good at his job. He's with pillar to post. He's just a great guy altogether. And I'm going to push it towards him because he can handle that. And in return, we have a great friendship and he's growing. And when he's on vacation, who does he call?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, just it's wonderful what happens when you open your mind and think there's more than one way to go about this, and I don't need to look at the people who do what I do as people to avoid or people to be intimidated by. Do what Dirk is doing. He builds relationships with those people and finds ways that he can help them, knowing that they will find ways that they can help him. That's what it's about. And this has been a really great episode. And I'm confident that it's going to help some people in the trades who are trying to build relationships with realtors. So I appreciate you coming on again. So, this is the question now that I'm asking guests lately. Dirk, if you had to tap your younger self on the shoulder as you were building your early business, home inspection business, what insight would you have for the younger version of you as you were trying to make a difference in the world?
Stop being so dang confident.
Mm-hmm.
I had so much pride.
Okay.
And that's one thing. When I moved to Florida and started this business up, my pastor got a hold of me and said, Dirk, you got a lot of pride here. And, I think the Lord's going to humble you. I said, really? I don't really like that. And he said, hey, you ever thought about mowing lawns? I said, I
Mm.
didn't come to Florida to mow lawns, but, within a month I had 30 lawns
Mm.
and I wasn't scared to work.
Yeah,
And it definitely humbled me. So, yeah, get rid of that pride.
that's a great answer. Well, thank you so much for being back on the podcast. And audience, if you are wanting to get with realtors, it is a game of patience, and it's having that open mind and seeing others who do what you do in a different light and providing value for your realtors, not just the sale, but value, real value. And Dirk has given us some great tips to do that. Thanks again, Dirk.
Thanks, Faithann.
You've been listening to the Networkers Tour Guide podcast with Faithann Basore. Share this episode with a friend and be sure to come back next week for more networking tips and tricks from the Networkers Tour Guide.